This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're just going to give everybody a moment or two to join the session. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days to join us for this month's App of the Month webinar. Hopefully, you can hear me and you can see both myself and Harry. So do pop something in the chat box. Let us know that we're coming through nice and clear for you this morning. Tell us where you are, what the weather's like. I'm sitting up here in Norwich, which I believe is meant to be the warmest place in the UK today. So perfect day to be sitting indoors in front of a computer screen. But we will try and enjoy some of the weather as the day goes on. So nothing in the chat box yet. Always kind of bothers me a little bit when nobody posts that they can hear us. I'm confident in the technology, mind you. So there we go. It's all starting now. Good stuff. So thank you for that. Right. It is 10:31. So we are going to get cracking. As I say, thank you for joining us today. We are joined by Joiin. I've been practicing that one ahead of the session, and I'm joined by Harry, who will give you a quick introduction of himself this morning. So we will be done for you by about 10:40, I would think, this morning. We've got a great topic to chat through. Harry's going to give you a brief insight into Joiin if you haven't seen the product. So we'll get a demo in there for you as well. If anybody has any questions during the course of the session, please pop them in the Q&A box, and I will find the right time to throw those questions to Harry as we go through the session. And of course, we have time at the end to pick up any final questions as we wrap up. So that is the plan. Let's get underway. So for those that don't know me, my name is Will Farnell. I'm founder of Farnell Clark and co-founder and director at App Advisory Plus. Many of you, I'm sure, have joined some of our App of the Month webinars in the past. We really try and make sure that these are thought leadership as much as we can. This isn't a sales pitch from Joiin, but clearly Harry's going to give you an overview of what Joiin is about, how it works, and how it can make a difference to you and your clients. Harry, thank you for joining us this morning. Do you want to just give everybody a quick introduction in terms of who you are, please?
Okay, thank you very much, Will. Thank you very much for joining. Nice to see so many people in attendance as well. It's really good stuff. So I'm Harry Symons. I head up the customer success team at Joiin. Equally, I have my fingers in many pies within Joiin, kind of working out in marketing as well, but kind of overall being in charge of kind of helping our customers along their journey, kind of making sure they get the most out of the product and kind of helping with that onboarding and kind of throughout the life of their plan is kind of me in a bit of a nutshell when it comes to Joiin.
Yeah, and what we did before you joined Joiin, Harry?
So I am fresh out of university, really. So I started in my final year, kind of doing some kind of like outsourced work for Joiin, and then kind of came on. I kind of timed it quite nicely. As soon as my exams finished, I moved straight into Joiin, and it's kind of during that weird pandemic time when everyone else, all my friends were on furlough or having some time alone, kind of at home, enjoying lockdown. I started my first full-time job. So that's kind of how I got involved, and it's kind of been about 3 years now of which I've loved, to be honest. Really good company to work for. Excellent,
and enjoying working with the accounting and bookkeeping community. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent, good. So in terms of what we're going to cover today, we've done some quick intros. I'm going to ask Harry to tell us a little bit about Joiin in a moment for those that perhaps haven't yet come across Joiin as an organisation and the product that they've built. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that firms face with consolidation. Now, whilst Joiin was initially built as a consolidation tool, conversations Harry and I have had is that there's clearly still massive opportunity to use the product for single entity clients as well. So Harry's going to talk through some of that as we go through the session. So what are the challenges that firms have when it comes to pulling group accounts, consolidated accounts together at month end in terms of delivering the same level of quality output for a consolidated group as you might be already using tools for your single entity companies around dashboards and really vibrant management reporting. We're going to talk about some of the use cases and who can get value out of Joiin. As we say, whilst It's a great tool for consolidation. It doesn't stop there. So we're going to look at how and who can get value out of Joiin as a product. We're then going to talk about the opportunity to go beyond simple consolidation. So what does that mean? What's the opportunity for you to deliver new value to your clients, and indeed perhaps using the product internally for your firm? And then we have plenty of time at the end for question and answers. So for those that don't know anything about Joiin, Harry, do you want to tell us kind of where did it come from? What was the pain point, and how is Joiin being used by accounting and bookkeeping firms right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start from the beginning, give you kind of a bit of a backstory on Joiin. So kind of founded about 4 years ago, almost to a day actually. We kind of were first initially created because so our three founders, who've kind of had multiple entries and exits together, kind of worked as a bit of a kind of a core team and lots of projects. We're tasked doing some freelance work for basically to consolidate some SAP, Sage, and Zero data for kind of a big multinational news corporation. And basically they realized kind of that maybe there wasn't a tool really suitable for what they had, what they were looking for at the time. So they basically created it and kind of Joiin's real bare bones. And then realized kind of actually they've created something that's really good and it's very marketable. And they kind of went from there kind of just to see how it went. They've had kind of lots of kind of excursions business before, and it's kind of the one that really took off. Got some really good early feedback from our kind of tester users, I guess, and we've kind of grown from strength to strength there. Kind of now operating out of 90 countries, which is always quite a good number to mention. Kind of 25,000 plus plugged in entities, whether that be from Xero, Sage, QuickBooks, or kind of accounting systems from elsewhere, and then kind of operating range of industries. So kind of primarily we are kind of faced with kind of accountants who manage multiple clients, but equally we have kind of personal wealth, kind of end business users for just kind of single groups, and then kind of a real mix everywhere in between, some kind of household names on our books as well. Yeah, and then so kind of one of the things that we always like to say, and it's kind of quite a good marketing ploy, but equally quite cliche when we say it, is Joiin. Quite interestingly, Joiin, we see ourselves as kind of being more a data-driven company rather than kind of a finance or accounting tool, and we are kind of very democratic in our approach to the tool, and that being Joiin. So essentially, all of our roadmap is dictated to us purely by our users. So what we say is kind of there's no bias there. There's no one accountant or one kind of bookkeeper who's creating Joiin based on what they see kind of consolidation tool should be. Instead, it's kind of a pure democracy, no bias from us, which is something that we're really proud of as well. And when you explain that to people, it really clicks with them. They go, actually, yeah, no, that's we like that, and you can see that it's kind of covers all areas and tries to kind of be as kind of utilitarian as possible, I guess.
Yeah, and is it? Do you think it's possible to kind of maintain that approach as you scale in terms of the number of users increase, and the more people you've got, the more different demands you're going to get on the product?
So that's a great question. Something we've been discussing recently, actually, as well. So interestingly, the amount of feature requests and kind of suggestions have obviously kind of reduced a lot, basically because we've been pretty proactive in terms of adding them in. We've got kind of a pretty talented and efficient team of developers. So it'll be interesting to see how that will work, and kind of I guess that will change as we maybe move into other products and kind of branch out further. There could be a few more kind of feature requests, but yeah, at the moment we can't see any reason why we can't kind of carry on in that same vein, really.
Great, excellent. How big is the team at the moment, Harry?
So we've got 12 of the kind of the core team. That includes kind of customer support, developers, kind of directors, and then kind of like a branching of marketing, web design, etc. But then we also use kind of a lot of outsourced UI as well. So we've got kind of good contacts in terms, particularly in that UI piece I was saying. But then we also have some kind of digital creation, marketing as well that we outsource. So yeah, kind of a relatively small team, but growing. So it was only 18 months ago that we had kind of 3 employees. We've kind of really grown, kind of that hockey stick that everyone likes to talk about. With new employees, which is really nice. There's a nice buzz around the Joiin at the moment.
Yeah, and when somebody says to you, an accountant or bookkeeper says to you, what does Joiin do? What's kind of the 30-second, this is the outcomes that we deliver, this is what we deliver as a product?
Yeah, so I guess kind of our elevator pitch, or even shorter than elevator pitch, is kind of we provide kind of a simple solution to a potentially complex issue around consolidation. I'm sure we'll touch on kind of those particular pain points in a minute about kind of what our customers face, but yeah, trying to kind of provide simplicity and kind of allowing kind of the user to kind of add kind of benefits in other areas of their business is kind of where we see ourselves.
Yeah, and as I said in the introduction, your whilst consolidation is kind of the key pain point you started to solve, you've still got the ability to produce kind of cost-effective dashboards, reports, and everything else for single entity businesses as well as consolidation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's something that we've kind of really moved into again in the last kind of like 18 months. So initially we were focused purely on consolidation, and that is still very much our niche and our speciality. But what we've started to notice is a lot of our users, particularly kind of bookkeepers, accountants, who initially were using Joiin for the one use case of one of their clients where they had a kind of a group of companies to report on, they're realizing that actually Join's a really cost-effective way of producing kind of management reports, statutory reports for all of their clients now. And it costs £1.49 a month to add additional companies. So it's a really kind of cost-effective way to produce dashboards, nice reporting, and kind of all kinds of customization that you might expect.
Yeah, and it's we always get a question around pricing, so it's good to get that kind of out in the open right now. And actually £1.49 per client is actually pretty good value, isn't it? Even if you take a view that actually what we want is a fairly simplistic dashboard that we can send to all of our compliance clients at the end of the year, instead of just sending them a set of statutory accounts, let's actually send them a report, and it's going to cost you 18 quid or whatever the cost is for that client for the course of the year, just to be able to provide something that gets the client thinking about their data in a different way because of the way it's presented. And that creates an opportunity for firms to then start talking about, well, actually, you know what, we can produce you this kind of data right the way through the year. It doesn't have to just be at year end. And I know in our firm, that was one of the things that we were always quite keen to do, in terms of just being able to provide something that looked nicer, looked more valuable than a statutory set of accounts for all of our clients at year end. And at that kind of price point, it's something that I would urge people to kind of think about and look at. And we'll obviously, we've got an opportunity for you to show us a product a bit later, so we can give people an idea of what they could get for that £18 a month per year per client, or whatever the number is. Hope my maths are broadly on spot there. So excellent. Thank you for that introduction. As I say, I'm sure there's people that haven't quite yet come across you guys as a player in the market. So we touched on the challenges of consolidation, which was obviously where Joiin started. That was the pain point that it wanted to solve. You have the benefit and the insight of being able to talk to accountants and bookkeepers at the coalface that are dealing with this. What do you hear? What are the common challenges that we have, people tend to have?
Yeah, so that's a really easy question to field based on, like you were saying, Will, that I'm at the coalface, I'm speaking to our clients, our customers, and when we kind of have that first kind of interaction with them, there's almost always the same four kind of key challenges that they face in terms of kind of that whole group consolidation piece. Number one, they don't like using Excel for it, for a number of reasons, mainly that human error piece and the potentials that can have down the line. Time consuming, so kind of particularly this is more the accountants rather than the end users. They want to be that advisor piece, and I know it's something that's kind of very hot at the moment discussing about, but they want to be more than that number cruncher. They want to be able to automate that whole process and then add the advice piece, which is more valuable, and obviously they and their clients prefer. Yeah. And then one of the kind of the real niches about Joiin, and you'll probably get a bit bored of me banging on about it, basically the simplicity and speed of use within Joiin. So people are often worried about kind of dedicating time to learning new software, adapting kind of the potential onboarding, training, etc., and those kind of sunk costs that come with it of trying new software. So we kind of cover that one off. Again, I'll touch that in a minute. And then basically we just want an at a glance view of their group. Obviously, with all the pieces I've just mentioned there, time consuming to kind of you want the option to view maybe a P&L and know what levers to pull in a moment, and also that kind of automation around the consolidation and seeing kind of how the group's performing is a really big piece of that.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to talk about as well the opportunity to go beyond simple consolidation, and the often the challenge is that when you're looking at consolidations, that you tend to end up with a fairly bland Excel spreadsheet or whatever that pulls together the numbers, that takes ages to pull together, dealing with all of the intercompany and everything else. I'm assuming that you guys have got the ability to set rules and everything else around that stuff, but ultimately it's about the quality of the output, isn't it? And also I'm a big advocate banging on about the importance of live accounting data. So if we're not doing daily bookkeeping or weekly bookkeeping for clients, then they haven't got the data to make the decisions on. And with consolidation, we shouldn't have to wait until a period end to get that kind of real-time view of what's going on across the group, should we? So it's kind of the same thing that we want to be able to ensure that clients can log into Xero or QuickBooks or whatever they're using to get that real-time view of what's going on. But actually, it's about how do you do that with a group of companies or a business owner that's got 2 or 3 not group companies, but they want to look at how's everything working together. So I think that's an extension to the value proposition of what accountants and bookkeepers should be doing in terms of driving this regular data, but having the mechanism by which we can turn that into useful information for clients to make decisions around what they do in their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of link, to be honest, we have another thing that a lot of people say to us is that the challenge of consolidation without a consolidation tool, maybe using just Excel, they decide maybe they don't produce those monthly reports. Maybe they leave it for a quarter or they wait to the year end.
Yeah.
And obviously that kind of hides so much of the information, kind of those levers that you could be pulling.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of use case, then, I mean, we've touched on it a little bit. You gave a bit in the introduction, but how are people using Joiin in terms of your current accountant and bookkeeper partners? How are they using the product, and who isn't but should be, because there's value in doing so?
Yeah, so in terms of who, kind of 50-50 split at the moment, but it's going more towards accountants, but then kind of end users, CFOs, accountants, management and statutory reporting. But then we've got kind of things that I'll kind of highlight later. We've got nice dashboards, so for that kind of at a glance view. We have some kind of quite powerful AR, AP reporting as well, so it can be quite helpful for debt collection. That's something that some of our users use Joiin for, but it's definitely maybe an underutilized tool. That AR piece, potentially powerful. Check on that debt collection. And they're kind of the key points, really. Yeah, how Join's used.
Yeah. And I'm just quickly thank you to Jenny and Andrew, who told me that bizarrely the chat function is disabled, which is why I didn't get any response when I asked for people to pop stuff in the chat box. It was showing on my dashboard here, so apologies. So if anybody has got anything to add or throw in, use a Q&A. If you can't use a chat box, but thank you to Jenny and Andrew for at least letting me know why I wasn't getting any response to my request. So in terms of the opportunity to go beyond consolidation, I mean, is it a good time to dive in and you show us a bit of the product to help us think about those opportunities there, Harry?
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I'll fire up my screen.
Yeah, share your screen. Show us the magic.
Yes, I will do. Or at least I hope to. Right. So are you able to see my screen? Okay. Well,
I certainly can. So I'm assuming everybody else can as well. So that's great.
Let's hope so. Okay. So yeah. So I'll take you on kind of a quick tour, really, more than anything else, just showing you some of the different aspects of Joiin. At quite a high level view, there are kind of things that you can overlay on top of this, the more customized base, but I'll just give you a very quick tour of the product. So in terms of kind of, we have 3 key kind of pillars within Joiin that we try and relate everything to, and it's kind of our ethos, really. Reliability, simplicity, and cost effectiveness. simplicity will be one of the things I kind of focus on here. About we try to make everything as user-friendly as possible. Like I say, I'll probably harp on about that and probably a bit bored of it by the end. So in terms of onboarding to join, we try to make this as simple as possible. So you go to our website, you find us on one of the marketplaces, you click sign up for a trial, you have a 14-day free trial, and basically it's a freemium trial, so you've got all access, all features, everything. You sign in, you come to this landing page, the company's page, press add company, you connect to Xero, QuickBooks or Sage, or add data via Excel file, and you basically click on one of these options, you're redirected, and you log in with your accountant ID for Xero or your personal, and basically we'll bring in that data for you, that being your financial data, and then all of your invoice data as well. Takes kind of between 1 and 2 minutes, so we've got that kind of rapid sync with Xero and QuickBooks as well, so it's a very speedy process. Data will be refreshed every 24 hours, but equally you can trigger a manual refresh. Just press that refresh all button up there. We're bringing in all that data for you. I'll touch on the dashboarding very quickly. So dashboard's quite new to Joiin. Kind of more features coming, kind of thick and fast with those ones in kind of upcoming releases. But basically, just giving you that that at a glance view of your group's performance for some kind of key KPI metrics. So as that one loads, we've got kind of just 2 companies here, and you've got kind of some customizability about which KPIs you can display on your dashboards, or just some kind of visually pleasing dashboards that you can kind of view on your phone as well. So Joiin is designed to work perfectly on a mobile browser as well, very nicely. So what I'll do now, kind of a massive piece of that consolidation, kind of consolidated reporting, is the intercompany transactions and eliminations. So I'll touch on those very quickly. Handled within settings and in chart of accounts. Basically, within this chart of accounts section, you have kind of essentially a list of all of your different GL codes across your various entities. You can go through and find which accounts are relating to intercompany transactions or intercompany accounts, and you can essentially tell Joiin to eliminate these ones. You have some kind of overlay after this that you can decide how these will behave within Joiin, but you can go through, you can find, if we use a kind of a real basic example, an accounts receivable in company A and accounts payable in company B, you can select for these to be eliminated, and then you can kind of decide what Joiin does with that information at a later date. What I'll do now is I'll go over to one of our out-of-the-box reports. So we've got these off-the-shelf financial reports here, so your TB, your balance sheet, your cash flow, and your KPIs, which basically, as soon as you've loaded up your data, are ready to run. So creating kind of consolidated report literally within kind of a couple of minutes of setting up your account is possible, which is obviously something that is massive. It's quite simply, kind of you get a really early idea of kind of how Join's going to work for you. It's kind of a real selling point for us, that speed of access. So first, we've got these kind of off-the-shelf reports. In a minute, I'll show you the more interesting kind of customized reports and the nicer outputs, but these are kind of reports for kind of the numbers' sake, let's say. So you've got a configuration box up here, allows you to decide what's in the report, body of the report down here. So you can select essentially which companies you'd like to include in your consolidation here. So I'll just choose these 3 companies for my group. You've got your reporting currency here. So we've got an extensive list of currencies. I'm going to choose British pounds for the time being. We provide you with FX rates, but equally, if there's a particular rate you have in mind, you can enter those ones into Joiin yourself. You've got this report format box here, which basically allows you to decide how you're going to kind of break your report down. So you've got all your quick formats here, so kind of this calendar year by month, this financial year by month, last financial year by quarter, all of those you might expect. Got a couple more options over here. So you've got a couple of compare options, so compare by category. So that's a really powerful tool that our users love. So you can run a consolidated view of your Xero tracking category or your QuickBooks class and location data. Joiin will consolidate all of those ones for you automatically. And then kind of finally, we've got kind of a compare by company. So this can give you that kind of really key breakdown of company A, company B, company C, and then a total column on the right-hand side as well, which you'll see just once that one loads. So that's kind of running reports within Joiin at kind of a very basic level. So you can see here you've got company A, company B, company C, total, that consolidated total for the kind of the period that time period that I chose. A couple of things to kind of overlay on this one before we move on to the more interesting bits. Got budgeting as well within Joiin. So if you have budgets loaded into your Xero or QuickBooks files, Joiin will pull those ones in automatically for you, whether that be at the category level, the company level, or the group level. But equally, you can create budgets as well within Joiin. So Sage users, Excel users, you can create those within Joiin really simply. We provide you a nice template and you upload that. It's kind of
just on that, Harry, one of the questions that came in was around Sage 50. So is there a connector to Sage 50, or is it you provide templates for uploads? How does that work on? Certainly, again, if we're looking at businesses that might be consolidated, they might be of a scale that historically they've used Sage 50 and are still using Sage 50. What's the opportunity there?
So yeah, so Sage 50, if we're talking specifically, would be an upload via a spreadsheet. Yeah. We provide you with a template for that one. Essentially, the Sage products that we connect to is Sage, Business Cloud, UK, and US.
Right.
The only Sage products that we connect to currently.
Right.
We do have, obviously, as you'd imagine, we've got lots of users that use that upload method, and we provide a pretty nice template for you to do so. So kind of once you finish with your reports, you can download to Excel PDF if you want to kind of distribute them, or add to report pack, which is something I'll come on to in a minute. Basically, just the more aesthetically pleasing way of adding reports, grouping them so you can add logos, branding, colors, all of those good things. I'll touch on that elimination piece that we kind of left back at the beginning. So essentially deciding how these ones are handled. So we've got this little configuration box up here. Basically allows you to decide how your eliminations are handled within Joiin. So got 4 options. I'll go over these ones quite quickly. You can simply remove your intercompany transactions eliminations. If you're happy with them, you've got the show eliminated accounts only. So this is basically kind of a check and balance mechanism to make sure that all of those accounts that you've tagged for elimination are A, correct, B, balance off against each other, and then C, if they don't balance off, you can always kind of post in the adjustments or adjust those ones. We have kind of you can add journal entries, kind of consolidation adjustments directly within Joiin. So I'm just going to kind of reset this data back to the beginning, and then I'll move on to the more interesting customized reporting right now. So I'll go over to the custom report section of Joiin. Essentially, custom reports, you create a template report that you can then open up month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year, however often you do your consolidated reporting, and it kind of automates that whole process for you. You just kind of apply which companies, which dates, what information you'd like to include on said custom reports. So I'm just going to open up this one very quickly. So this is kind of my favorite month-end P&L, which I use. I'm just going to quickly change some of the data that's kind of attached to this this report. So I can get a breakdown of this calendar year by month, for instance, to show this quite nicely. Okay, so basically within custom reports, you kind of got the initial bit of legwork that you can use to kind of tailor the reports to meet any kind of statutory requirements, in-house preferences, anything like that. And then basically it's there for month on month that you can open up. So your key functions, you've got the charting, so you've got bar, donut, and line charts available to you. You then got the formula tool, and then finally the custom grouping, which is kind of the more powerful of the tools. So basically allows you to mimic reports that you might have on other reporting software, or just fully tailor the reports to your liking. The key question that comes up is about kind of chart of accounts, and if they're not the same across your various instances, you can use the custom grouping tool to tidy those ones up, create your own set custom groupings. So that's just kind of a quick glimpse of custom reports. Again, to use another cliche, we always say it works better if you use your own data, have a play around with your own data, see how you get on, and we'll touch on kind of support and everything like that in just a minute. So I'll finish off just kind of this very high level demo, and I'll show you one of our report packs, which is basically just the kind of more kind of the trickier output. Basically, if you want to report to bank clients, kind of key stakeholders, you've got this reporting output. You can essentially, you've got a couple of options here. You can add your own company logos, your own kind of brand colors, themes, etc. All of these with kind of hex codes as well, so get it kind of bang on. Contents page, and then basically this is just kind of one of those report outputs I was talking about. You've got kind of a customized report here with some nice commentary and notes, some various KPIs attached to this P&L here, and then just scrolling through, just just give you kind of the visuals of the reports more than anything else. You've got a balance sheet, one of the accounts receivable aging reports that I mentioned previously, and then just some more kind of customized expense reporting and then a profit and loss by month, just to give you a bit of a glimpse of how those ones look. So yeah, that kind of concludes a bit of a kind of a whistle-stop tour, Will.
Excellent. Thank you, Harry.
I'll hand back over to you. We can go from there.
Yeah, no problem. And on those report packs, I guess that you've got the ability there to completely customize what you put in those report packs, and then you can save them as your own template once you're done.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got the power to create the report, kind of the individual report, which you can then share between your clients as well. And then the same goes for those report packs as well. You can add whatever you want from the Joiin platform into it, distribute it however you feel necessary. And also, again, it's one of those ones that you can share between clients. So you could create kind of a master report pack, reports if you have kind of the same reports across your various clients.
Yeah, perfect. So quick question on the elimination of balances. Doug asked, can you eliminate part of a balance, or does it only eliminate the full account balance?
Yeah, so yes, you can eliminate kind of partial accounts. Basically, within Joiin, you can create kind of like a dummy company, I guess, where you can post in any elimination amounts, consolidation adjustment, all those partial eliminations, which indeed many of our users have to do as well. So it's kind of a streamlined tool added to Joiin.
Perfect, excellent. If you want to stop your share at this point, then Harry, if anybody else got any other questions on anything that Harry shared there, do drop questions in the Q&A box, and I will make sure we cover those off before we wrap off. But thank you ever so much for sharing that with us, Harry. I'm just going to go back into my screen share now to wrap up towards the end. So we always try and kind of make sure we got some key takeaways to share here. I'll run through these. Harry may chip in on some of them. Harry made the point, I lost count of the number of times I think you mentioned how simple and easy it was, Harry. But it's something that I talk about a lot when I talk about what we do in our accounting firm. About our job is to make accounting simple and easy for us as a service provider, but equally for our clients as well. And clearly this is a mantra that you've got to join as well in terms of making this really simple. The demo gave us a really good idea of kind of how quickly you can get up and running with the product. But in terms of support when people get cracking, Harry, how do you guys support users getting to grips with the product?
Yeah, so we've got kind of a fully dedicated support team. I'll kind of touch on kind of our various prongs of how we support our users. So we have primarily a support kind of live chat and support ticketing service. They're kind of the primary ways people get in touch. But equally on top of that, we have forum posts where our community get involved, support videos, which are really good as well, FAQs, how-tos, all those things that you'd expect. And so, yeah, something we always like to say, kind of another kind of marketing gimmick that we always like to share that sounds very good for us. Kind of 95% of our users sign up for Joiin through the trial, move into a paid plan without ever getting in touch with us regarding kind of support, which kind of shows that simplicity and kind of scalability. Yeah, which we always like to share. I try to sneak that one in.
Excellent. Clearly, this is about saving time, and the point here mentions month-end reporting. But as I mentioned earlier, this is about going beyond month-end. This is about going beyond period-end data for our clients. It's about being able to give your clients access to we'll never do real time. I'm really reluctant to use the term real time, but live accounting data is what we should be striving for. And tools like this give us the ability to do that, even with complexity of group reporting. You've seen consistent, easy to read management report packs, whether that's consolidation, or if you just want something that you can provide to year-end clients as an introduction to the way that you can use reporting. We touched on pricing. Pricing is really cost effective here. How you mentioned the £1.49 per extra client. What's the start point in terms of a plan with Joiin?
So the cheapest plan with Joiin starts from £13 a month for 2 entities if you were to pay monthly. or £9 a month that you pay annually.
Fine. And then you just add your £1.49 for your extra entities. Perfect. So allowing advisors and accountants to automate reporting, allowing more time to support clients in an advisory capacity. Everyone here will have heard the compliance versus advisory. We have to get the compliance right. We have to be able to do that really, really effectively to enable us to be able to have the right conversations with clients and help them with the things that are really important to them. This last one, do you want to just explain that one to us, Harry?
Yeah, so basically this multi-client functionality that we have within Joiin, so basically a feature that we've created so that our accountants, bookkeepers, advisors can have kind of like a parental account within Joiin, which they can allow access to each of their individual clients, the kind of branches coming down from that, and allowing them to have, like I said, that parental view. It makes it really easy to switch in and out, manage all the subscriptions under one roof, and just kind of really kind of produce kind of a nice experience using Joiin as an accountant bookkeeper, and makes it easy also to bring all of your clients on board.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. And in terms of if you want to find out more, we're going to send an email to everybody at the end of the session with the recording. So you'll have the recording, and on that will be a link to sign up, firstly for a free trial, but certainly the team at Joiin have provided us a code here for you to get 10% off your first year subscription if you want to do something with Joiin once you've had a look at with the trial. So I've had a question just on that Sage 50 template, Harry. So I will make sure that we get what you need there, Peter. So thank you for that. We'll get a copy of that template across to you. I'll pass the details over to Harry to do that. So I don't have any other further questions in my box here. So we are pretty much on 40 minutes. My apologies. I said 10:40 at the beginning, thinking we're starting at 10. I actually meant 11:10. So we are bang on our time frame here. So thank you for everybody for taking time to join us today. I hope it's been informative. We will get that follow up out to you after the session as soon as the recording's available. Harry, thank you very much indeed for being involved as our App of the Month for August, and thanks for taking the time to work with us on what's been a really interesting, informative webinar today. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to everyone for joining us. We hope you will join us for our App of the Month webinar in September. And until then, enjoy the rest of the summer, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks so much indeed. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you very much, Will. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I look forward to speaking to you all soon.
Thanks a lot. Cheers now, everyone. Bye.